490 BC, the Persian Empire stood as the greatest power the ancient world had ever known. And its ambitions were moving west in Ionia. Persian rule suddenly began to crack. The Greek cities rose, and rebellion flooded the streets. Persian soldiers struggled to contain the uprising as their authority was torn apart from within. From Miletus to Ephesus, the revolt spread. One by one, the cities of Ionia joined the rebellion. Then the rebels struck Sardis. Persian power trembled as the imperial stronghold was engulfed in flames. But this was no longer a distant provincial revolt. Persia discovered that the rebellion had powerful enemies behind it. Before we continue, please take a brief moment to hit like and subscribe. Across the Aegean, another power was quietly entering the war. Athens had chosen to support the rebels. In Athens, the news from Ionia had arrived, and Athens was preparing to answer. Reports told of revolt, burning cities, and Persian forces
Prepare the ships.
fighting to restore control. Athens sent its ships across the Aegean, turning sympathy for the rebels into action. And soon, the revolt would reach Sardis, the heart of Persian power in Lydia. The news eventually reached the Persian court. Sardis had burned, and Athens had helped make it possible. Then his attention settled on Athens. For Darius, the rebellion had acquired a new enemy. Athens would have to answer. Across the coast, Persia began assembling an expedition on a scale Greece had never seen. Then the fleet sailed west, carrying the weight of the Persian Empire toward the Aegean. The Persians were coming for Athens. And on the shores of Greece, a confrontation was about to begin, one that would echo through history. At dawn, the Persian expedition reached Marathon. Ships, horses, soldiers, and supplies poured ashore. Persia had brought an army to Greece. Athens answered immediately. The news from Marathon sent its citizen soldiers into motion.
To arms, citizens! Defend our city!
Athens called on Sparta for help. A messenger raced south with the appeal. But Sparta was observing the sacred Carnaia. Their law forbade the army from marching before the full moon. So Athens would have to face the Persians alone, for now. So the Athenians stood alone. Then, against every expectation, they advanced. The Persian line buckled. The invaders who had crossed the Aegean were suddenly fighting for their lives. The battle was won, but Athens was still in danger. Realizing the Persians were not going home and their fleet was sailing around Attica toward Athens, the Athenians had to move quickly back to their city.
Number two!
Seeing Athens fully defended, the Persians abandoned the attack and turned their fleet back toward Persia. A later account by the historian called Lucian mentioned that a messenger named Phidippides ran from Marathon to Athens to deliver one message, and centuries later, this race would inspire the popular Olympic marathon race.
Victory.
And then he died of exhaustion. Herodotus had earlier mentioned that Phidippides ran to Sparta from Athens to call on Sparta's help. After the Persians were defeated at Marathon and sailed home, Darius was already preparing another invasion. In 486 BC, he died. His son, Xerxes, inherited his throne and his unfinished war. 4 years later, Persia marched into Greece again. This time, the Greeks would stand at Thermopylae. But Thermopylae was only the beginning.